Welcome back to CIA Declassified. Imagine you're a deep cover operative. You need to be smuggled across a border in a shipping container, or you need to wait out a 72-hour lockdown in a crawl space. The biggest liability isn't your training, it's your biology. You get hungry, you get thirsty, you panic. In the early 1960s, the CIA looked at a humble ground squirrel during the winter and asked, why can't our guys do that? Enter Project DORMOUSE. This wasn't just a heavy dose of NyQuil. The agency was looking for a biological pause button. Project Dormouse focused on metabolic suppression. The agency worked with pharmacologists to develop a cocktail of chlorpromazine and other tranquilizers designed to induce a state of artificial hibernation. A quote from a declassified ORD memorandum: the requirement exists for a method to reduce the metabolic requirements of an individual to a minimum, allowing for extended periods of inactivity with negligible intake of oxygen and nutrients. The CIA funded, end quote, the CIA funded research at major universities to study hypothermic behavior. They wanted to know if they could lower the human body temperature to the low 80s without causing permanent brain damage or heart failure. One declassified log describes a suspended animation chamber, a pressurized, cooled environment where a subject could be kept in a drug-induced stupor for days, monitored by early biotelemetry suits. A quote from Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, the man behind MKUltra: the ability to put an asset into a state of low-draw existence would revolutionize exfiltration in denied areas, end quote. The agency explored acoustic sleep induction using low-frequency hums to synchronize brainwaves into a deep delta state, making the Dormouse drugs even more effective. Researchers found that by suppressing the thyroid gland, they could mimic the winter sleep patterns of mammals, effectively turning the operative's body into a slow burn engine. Subprojects under Dormouse examined post-stasis recovery, testing high-velocity stimulants like dexedrine to snap the agent back to full combat readiness in under 60 seconds. The CIA investigated the use of yogic breathing techniques alongside the drugs, bringing in experts in Eastern meditation to see if the mind could assist the chemicals in slowing the heart. Medical logs indicate that some subjects in the cold sleep trials reported temporal compression, feeling as if 3 days had passed in only 3 minutes. The agency developed a Dormouse kit for field use, a preloaded injector, and a thermal blanket designed to keep the sleeper at a precise suppressed temperature. Tests were conducted on high-altitude stasis, checking if a hibernating agent could survive in a non-pressurized cargo hold at 30,000 feet, where the cold and thin air would kill a conscious man. One declassified 1964 report mentions the use of thorazine slurries to keep subjects under for up to a week during simulated transport in a wooden crate. Project Dormouse was closely linked to the early space program as the CIA shared data with NASA regarding the long-term effects of inactivity on muscle mass. The program was eventually shuttered because the waking process often resulted in extreme disorientation and temporary paralysis, hardly ideal for a spy who needs to come out swinging. A 1967 evaluation concluded that while the sleeper could be successfully induced, the risk of irreversible metabolic drift, or in plain English, death, was over 15%. The Project Dormouse files reveal that the agency experimented with lytic cocktails, mixtures originally developed in France to lower body temperature during surgery, to see if they could keep a human heart beating at just 10 beats per minute. A quote from a declassified clinical evaluation: the subject displayed a marked reduction in oxygen consumption, effectively entering a state of pharmacological torpor. Recovery required intensive thermal and chemical stimulation, end quote. To prevent blood clots during prolonged stasis, researchers under Project Dormouse tested early anticoagulants that are now common in modern medicine, proving that the agency's sleep research had a bloody practical edge. The agency's Office of Medical Services OMS recorded that several human volunteers experienced vivid, nightmarish hallucinations upon waking, leading researchers to believe the drugs were interfering with the REM sleep cycle. One specific 1962 experiment involved sub-zero immersion, where subjects were placed in water cooled to near freezing while under the influence of dormouse sedatives to test the limits of survival against the elements. When you get to the volunteer logs of Project Dormouse, the ink gets very thick. The heaviest redactions occur in the long-term observation phase. Speculation suggests that these bars hide the fact that a group of subjects was left under for months, not days. The theory is that the CIA was testing biological time travel, and the blacked-out text describes the mental breakdown of a man who woke up a year after he closed his eyes. Further speculation surrounds the nursery. Conspiracy theorists believe the redacted section describes tests on infants whose metabolisms are naturally more flexible. The theory is that the black bars hide the names of state wards used as their first true sleepers. There's a persistent theory that the redactions hide remote triggering. Speculation holds that the CIA developed a way to put someone to sleep using a specific microwave frequency, and the bars hide the field test performed on unsuspecting crowds in 1965. Some speculate the redactions hide the astral logs. The theory is that while the bodies were asleep, the minds were being projected using the techniques from the Stargate program. The black bars hide the travel reports of the souls leaving the sleeping bodies. Conspiracy theorists often point to the permanent stasis files. The speculation is that the redactions cover the storage of operatives who knew too much, a way to keep them on ice without having to kill them. There's also speculation that Dormouse was reverse engineered from gray biology. Some believe the redacted files describe the dissection of a non-human being that used a similar hibernation state for interstellar travel. There is significant speculation that the redacted text in the drug composition section hides the use of venom derivatives. The theory is that the CIA used a refined version of a tropical pufferfish toxin to induce a death-like state similar to Haitian zombie folklore. A common conspiracy theory suggests that Dormouse was used to smuggle high-value targets out of the USSR in coffins, and the redactions hide the diplomatic fallout when a corpse started breathing in front of a Soviet customs agent. Some researchers speculate that the black bars hide the dream monitoring data. The theory is that the CIA was trying to record the dreams of the sleepers to see if the subconscious could be programmed with mission data during stasis. There is a theory that the redactions hide the vampire protocol. Speculation suggests the CIA found that the sleepers required fresh blood infusions to prevent organ failure during month-long trials, and the black bars hide the source of that blood. Finally, some speculate that the Dormouse files contain the wake-up code for thousands of sleepers still hidden in the U.S. population today, men and women who don't know they are waiting for a specific radio frequency to reactivate. There is intense speculation that the black bars in the 1966 reports hide the trans-temporal incident. Speculation holds that one subject woke up claiming to have seen the future, and the CIA redacted his entire testimony because it predicted the collapse of the agency. Some theorists speculate that the redactions hide the use of organ harvesting during the failed trials. The speculation is that when a Dormouse subject died, their parts were used to sustain other, more successful winter soldiers, and the black bars hide the ethical nightmare. A persistent conspiracy theory holds that the redactions in the field deployment section hide a mission where a sleeping agent was successfully planted inside a Soviet nuclear silo, and the black bars hide how he was woken up 5 years later. There is speculation that the Dormouse gas was actually leaked into a small American town as a controlled environment test, and the redacted files contain the casualty list of a town that didn't wake up for 48 hours. Finally, some speculate that the redactions hide the extraterrestrial contact logs. Speculation suggests that in the deep stasis state, the subject's brainwaves resonated with a signal from deep space, and the black bars hide the message they received. Was Project Dormouse a success? As a hibernation weapon, no. The human heart just isn't designed to be a refrigerator. But as a stress test of human biology, it was a disturbing success. It taught the agency exactly how far they could push the body machine before it broke. A quote from the final program review from 1969, "The physiological toll of induced stasis remains prohibitively high. Future research should focus on micronaps rather than long-term hibernation," end quote. The winter soldier's dream might have ended, but the tech stayed awake. As far as operational and technological breakthroughs, therapeutic hypothermia. The CIA's research into cooling the body helped pioneer the medical techniques used today to save heart attack victims. Biosensors, the miniaturized heart and lung monitors developed for the Dormouse suits, were the direct ancestors of modern wearable health tech. Emergency sedation. The stasis cocktails led to the development of the knockout gases used in specialized counterterrorism operations. Metabolic tracking. The agency's ability to calculate the minimum life support needed for a human led to better survival gear for high-altitude pilots and deep-sea divers. Project Dormouse is a reminder that the agency doesn't just want your mind and your muscle, they want your very life force. They wanted to put the human spirit into a sleep mode they could control. Thanks for listening. Next time we examine MK Ultra Subproject 102. When the agency needed a soldier who could fight for a week without blinking, they tested anti-sleep drugs on non-consenting military personnel. Pushing the human brain past the point of psychosis, we'll look at the soldiers who were kept awake without consent until their reality shattered. Join us for the endless watch. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.